Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the Great Hall of Kepler Prime Station. The room was huge and cold. Lights from 100 different worlds shone down on him. He wore his best uniform but felt small among the alien beings that filled the chamber. 50 years had passed since humans first met aliens. 50 long years of tests and trials. Earth had done everything the Galactic Council asked. They sent their best people to learn alien ways. They shared their science and culture. They proved humans could be peaceful. Captain Lisa Hayes stood beside Jake. She had spent 10 years as Earth's top diplomat. Her job was to speak for all humans today. She had practiced her words 1,000 times. Today would decide if humans could join the galaxy or stay alone on Earth. The chamber grew quiet. Chancellor Xeris walked to the center platform. The Valdorian was old beyond human understanding. His skin looked like gray stone. His eyes glowed with ancient knowledge. Behind him stood the other council members. The Corvan general had metal arms and red eyes. The Xanathi representative floated in a glass bubble filled with purple gas. "We have reviewed Earth's application," Xeris said. His voice echoed through the chamber. "For 50 years, humans have sought membership in our council. We have watched. We have tested. We have decided." Jake's heart beat fast. On Earth, billions of people waited for this moment. Children dreamed of traveling to distant stars. Scientists wanted to learn alien secrets. Soldiers hoped to protect human colonies on new worlds. "The Council finds humanity unworthy of membership," Xeris continued. "Humans are too violent, too emotional, too young to join civilized species." The words hit Jake like a punch. Lisa's face went white. Around the chamber, other alien species nodded in agreement. Some looked sad. Others seemed pleased. "Your species makes war on itself," the Corvan general said. His voice sounded like grinding metal. "You fight over land and resources and ideas. Such violence has no place in our peaceful galaxy." The Xanathi spoke without moving its mouth. Its thoughts entered Jake's mind directly. "Your emotions cloud your judgment. Fear and anger drive your decisions. We cannot trust such unstable minds." Lisa stepped forward. "Honored council members, humans have not fought a major war in 30 years. We have united our world. We have learned to solve problems with words instead of weapons." 30 years is nothing," Xeris replied. "We measure peace in thousands of years. Your species is still a child playing with dangerous toys." Jake wanted to argue. He wanted to list all the good things humans had done. They had cleaned their oceans. They had fed their hungry. They had reached for the stars with hope instead of hate. But the Council had made its choice. "All trade agreements with Earth are ended," Xeris announced. "All scientific exchanges are stopped. Earth will return to its solar system. You will not leave. You will not contact us again." The chamber filled with the sound of alien voices. Some species protested the harsh punishment. Others supported it. Jake barely heard them. His mind was stuck on one word: prison. "A quantum barrier will surround your system," the Corvan general explained. "Your ships cannot pass through it. Your messages cannot reach beyond it. Earth will learn to live alone." Dr. Alex Turner sat in the viewing gallery. He was Earth's best physicist. He had come to study alien technology. Now he watched his dreams die. His hands shook with anger and fear. Commander Ben Parker commanded Earth's finest ship, the Liberty. He had brought it to Kepler Prime as a show of human strength. Now it felt like a toy compared to the massive alien vessels around the station. Maya Rodriguez worked in the station's engineering section. She had designed new engine parts for human ships. Her work was supposed to help Earth join the galaxy. Instead, she watched aliens pack her tools and send her away. The council session ended. Guards escorted the human delegation to their ships. Jake looked back at the Great Hall one last time. 50 years of work had ended in failure. On the journey home, Lisa sat in her cabin and cried. Jake walked the ship's halls and tried to think of what to tell Earth. Dr. Turner studied his notes about alien technology. Commander Parker checked his ship's weapons for the 10th time. Earth received the news in stunned silence. President Karen Walsh called an emergency meeting. Military leaders wanted to fight. Scientists wanted to study the barrier. Ordinary people just wanted to understand why they had been rejected. 3 days later, the quantum barrier appeared. It looked like a wall of blue light that surrounded the entire solar system. Human ships that tried to pass through it simply bounced off. Radio signals died at the barrier's edge. Earth was alone again. President Walsh spoke to the world on television. She stood behind her desk in the White House. Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with determination. "The galaxy has cast us out," she said. "They call us too violent and too young. They say we are not ready to join them among the stars. Perhaps they are right about one thing. We are young. But being young means we can grow. Being rejected means we can prove them wrong." She paused and looked directly into the camera. "If the galaxy will not accept us as we are, then we will become something they cannot ignore. We will build our own path to the stars. We will show them what humans can do when we work together." Jake watched the speech from his office. Outside, his window, he could see the blue glow of the barrier in the night sky. It was meant to be a cage, but maybe it could be something else. Maybe it could be a cocoon. The rejection hurt, but it also lit a fire in human hearts. Earth began to change. Scientists worked harder. Engineers built better machines. Soldiers trained with new purpose. The galaxy had tried to end human dreams. Instead, they had made those dreams burn brighter. In the months that followed, strange reports came from the asteroid belt. Ships were being built in secret. New technologies were being tested. Humans were preparing for something. The Council had made a mistake. They thought isolation would weaken humanity. They were about to learn that nothing made humans stronger than being. Told they could not do something, the galaxy had cast Earth out. Now Earth would show them what that really meant. 5 years had passed since the galaxy locked Earth away. The blue barrier still glowed in space around the solar system. To most people on Earth, it looked the same as always. But things were changing in ways the aliens could never imagine. Dr. Alex Turner worked in a secret lab built inside an asteroid. The rock spun slowly in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. From outside, it looked like any other piece of space debris. Inside, it hummed with activity. Alex held a piece of alien technology in his hands. It was part of a Corvin engine that had been left behind on Kepler Prime. For 5 years, he had taken it apart and put it back together. Now he finally understood how it worked. "The aliens think in straight lines," he told his assistant, Dr. Jenny Cole. "Their technology is powerful but simple. They never learn to make things work together in new ways." Jenny looked at the plans on Alex's desk. They showed a new kind of engine that used both alien and human ideas. "Will it really work?" she asked. "Better than work," Alex smiled. "It will shock them. The alien engine used quantum fields to bend space. Human engines used chemical rockets and fusion drives. Alex had found a way to combine both methods. The result was faster than anything the galaxy had ever seen. Commander Ben Parker now ran a program called Project Exodus. His new office was hidden in the dark side of the moon. Every day he watched reports from secret shipyards across the solar system. "How many ships do we have now?" he asked his aide, Lieutenant Danny Price. 43 completed, Danny replied. 20 more will be ready next month. The asteroid yards are working around the clock. Ben nodded. These were not the small ships Earth used to build. The new vessels were huge and powerful. They carried weapons that could crack planets and armor that could stop alien laser beams. "What about the pilots?" Ben asked. "Training is going well," Danny said. Captain Steve Collins has been teaching them to fly like no alien ever could. Fast turns, sudden stops, crazy moves that would make alien pilots sick. Maya Rodriguez had built something amazing in the asteroid belt. She called it Factory 7. It was a machine that could turn raw rock into spaceship parts. Feed it an asteroid, and it would spit out hull plates, engine parts, and weapon systems. Maya watched her machines work through a thick window. Robot arms moved like metal dancers. Laser cutters sliced through stone and metal. Assembly lines carried finished parts to waiting ships. "How fast can you build a cruiser?" asked Captain Nicole Brooks. She commanded the military side of Factory 7. "From start to finish?" 2 weeks, Maya replied. "The aliens need 6 months to build the same ship. They do everything by hand. We let machines do the heavy work." Nicole smiled. "The Council thinks we are trapped and helpless. They have no idea what we are really doing out here." Maya's factory was not the only one. Humans had built 17 similar facilities throughout the asteroid belt. Each one was hidden inside a hollow rock. Each one was protected by new weapons and shields. Captain Steve Collins flew his ship through an asteroid field. The Defiance was small and fast. It could turn on a coin and stop in an instant. Steve pushed it harder than any alien pilot would dare. "Computer, show me the barrier," he said. A blue line appeared on his screen. It marked the edge of human space. Beyond it lay the galaxy that had rejected Earth. Steve had been studying the barrier for months. He knew how it worked now. "The barrier reads our engine signatures," he explained to his co-pilot, Lieutenant Jake Murphy. "It knows when a human ship tries to pass through. But what if we changed our signature?" Jake looked confused. "Change it how?" Steve smiled and flipped a switch. The ship's engines shifted to a new frequency. On the screen, the barrier flickered. "The aliens made one mistake," Steve said. "They assumed human technology would never change. They built their barrier to stop the ships we had 5 years ago. These new ships are different." Steve pushed the throttle forward. The Defiance shot toward the barrier at impossible speed. Jake closed his eyes and waited for the crash. Instead, they passed through the blue wall like it was not there. "We are out," Steve whispered. "We are actually out." For the first time in 5 years, a human ship flew in free space beyond the solar system. Steve looked at the stars and grinned. Soon, many more would follow. Commander Rachel King studied battle plans in her office on Mars. The walls were covered with maps and charts. Some showed ancient Earth battles. Others displayed the positions of alien fleets. "The Romans used to fight in tight formations," she explained to her staff. "So did the aliens. They line up their ships and shoot straight ahead. It works when both sides fight the same way." She pointed to a different chart. "But humans learn to fight differently. We use speed and surprise. We attack from unexpected angles. We make the enemy guess where we will strike next." Her assistant, Major Rick Sanders, studied the plans. "You want our ships to fight like fighter planes?" "Exactly," Rachel said. "Fast, mobile, unpredictable. The aliens will not know how to respond." Rachel had studied every human war in history. She learned from cavalry charges and submarine attacks. She studied dogfights and tank battles. All of it could be adapted for space combat. The first test came when alien scouts approached the barrier. They came to check that humans were still trapped inside. They expected to see the same small ships that Earth had always used. Instead, they found the UHSV Vengeance waiting for them. The new ship was massive. It was 3 times longer than any vessel Earth had ever built. Its hull was black as space and covered with weapons. When the alien scouts saw it, they sent panicked messages back to their fleet. Captain Amy Foster commanded the Vengeance. She had trained for years to pilot the huge vessel. When the alien scouts arrived, she was ready. "Unknown ships, this is Captain Foster of the United Human Space Force," she broadcast. "You are approaching human territory. State your business, or leave." The alien commander replied with confusion. There is no united human space force. Earth has only a small defense fleet. Amy smiled. Times change. So do fleets. This is your only warning. The alien ships turned and fled. They had seen enough. Their reports would shake the council to its core. Admiral Jake Morrison read those reports in his new command center. It was built in an asteroid near Jupiter. From here, he could control the entire human fleet. They know something has changed, he told President Walsh on a secure channel. The aliens are starting to worry. Good, the president replied. Let them worry. How soon before we are ready? Jake looked at his displays. They showed ship positions across the solar system. Factory 7 and its sister facilities worked day and night. Training exercises happened in the outer asteroid belt. Everything was coming together. 6 months, he said. Maybe less. We will have over 200 ships by then, all armed with new weapons, all crewed by pilots who can fly circles. Around aliens, President Walsh nodded. Then we make them pay for casting us out. Jake ended the call and turned to his aide, Commander Helen Wright. Send a message to all fleet commanders. Operation Shattered Sky begins planning phase. It is time to break our chains. The barrier still glowed blue around the solar system. But now it looked different to human eyes. It was no longer a prison wall. It was a shell that had protected Earth while it grew strong. Inside that shell, humanity had transformed itself. They had built ships that could outrun alien cruisers. They had forged weapons that could crack alien armor. They had trained warriors who fought like no species in the galaxy. The Council thought they had solved their human problem. They believed Earth would stay quiet and isolated forever. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. In hidden shipyards, workers put the finishing touches on humanity's new fleet. In training centers, pilots practiced maneuvers that would terrify alien commanders. In research labs, scientists completed weapons that would reshape galactic warfare. Earth was no longer the weak and pleading species that had begged for acceptance. The rejection had forged something new, something harder, something the galaxy was not prepared to face. The countdown had begun. Soon, the barrier would fall. Soon, humanity would return to the stars. And when they did, the galaxy would discover what 5 years of isolation had really accomplished. 8 years had passed since the barrier trapped Earth. The blue wall of energy still surrounded the solar system like a cage. But Admiral Jake Morrison was about to break those chains forever. He stood on the bridge of the UHSV Retribution, the largest ship humans had ever built. Around him, 20 other vessels waited in the darkness beyond Pluto. Each ship carried weapons and technology that would shock the galaxy. All ships report ready, announced Commander Helen Wright from her position at the communications station. Jake nodded. Begin Operation Shattered Sky. The human fleet moved toward the barrier generators. These massive machines floated in space just outside the solar system. Corvan guards protected them, but they had grown lazy after 8 years of peace. Captain Nicole Brooks commanded the strike group from her ship, the Hammer. She had trained for this moment since the day Earth was cast out. Her pilots knew every detail of the enemy stations. Remember, she told her crew over the comm system, speed and surprise. Hit them before they know what is happening. The Corvan station commander was drinking alien coffee when his sensors detected something impossible. Ships were approaching at speeds that should not exist. Their energy signatures were unlike anything in the database. Sound general alarm, he ordered. Contact the fleet. But it was too late. The human ships dropped out of fold space directly above the barrier generators. The Corvans had expected any attack to come slowly from inside the solar system. Instead, death appeared from empty space. Lieutenant Jake Murphy flew his fighter through the battle like a bird of prey. His small ship danced between alien laser beams and fired missiles with perfect aim. The Corvan pilots tried to follow his moves, but their ships were too slow and their reflexes too poor. "Target the generator supports," Jake called to his squadron. "Take them down fast." Human fighters swarmed around the massive barrier machines. Their weapons cut through alien armor like it was paper. The Corvans had built their defenses to stop. Large ships, not small, fast fighters that moved like angry hornets. Dr. Emma Clark worked at her station aboard the Retribution. She was the fleet's chief scientist, but today she was a warrior. Her fingers flew over computer controls as she launched attack programs into alien networks. "Their security is a joke," she told Admiral Morrison. "They use the same passwords they had 8 years ago. No one expected humans to learn electronic warfare." Emma's virus programs spread through Corvan computers like wildfire. Weapon systems shut down. Communications failed. Life support flickered. The aliens had never faced an enemy that could fight with pure information. The first barrier generator exploded in a ball of fire, then the second. The third lasted only minutes longer. As each machine died, the blue wall around Earth grew weaker. Captain Amy Foster watched from the bridge of her destroyer as the quantum field collapsed. "The barrier is down," she announced. "Earth is free." Admiral Morrison opened a channel to all human ships. "This is Morrison to all vessels. We have broken our chains. Now we show the galaxy who we really are." The human fleet formed up and headed for deep space. Their destination was the Corvan border fortress at Titan Nebula. It was time to announce that humanity had returned to the stars. News of the barriers. Destruction reached the Galactic Council within hours. Chancellor Xeris received the report with disbelief. His aide, a nervous Valdorian named Kess, trembled as he spoke. "The entire generator network is destroyed," Kess reported. "The Corvan garrison was wiped out in minutes. Human ships are moving toward Council space." Xeris stood slowly. His ancient mind struggled to understand what had happened. "How many ships?" "Long-range sensors detect over 200 vessels," Kess replied. "Their size and armament exceed anything in our database. Where did they get such technology?" The Chancellor had no answer. 8 years ago, Earth had 12 small ships and begged for acceptance. Now they commanded a fleet that could challenge the entire galaxy. The Corvan Empire mobilized first. General Thack ordered his finest battle group to intercept the human fleet. His ships were fast and heavily armed. They had conquered a dozen worlds for the Empire. "These humans think they can frighten us," Thack growled to his officers. "We will crush them and send their wreckage back to Earth as a warning." The two fleets met at Titan Nebula, a swirling cloud of gas and dust between star systems. It was perfect cover for the kind of battle humans wanted to fight. Commander Danny Price led a squadron of destroyers into the nebula's purple clouds. The Corvan ships followed, their sensors struggling to track human vessels through the interference. "Now," Danny whispered. Human ships appeared from every direction at once. They had used the nebula to hide and position themselves around the enemy fleet. The Corvans found themselves surrounded by ships that moved faster than anything they had ever seen. The battle was unlike anything in galactic history. Corvan vessels formed tight defensive lines and fired massive laser berets. It was a tactic that had worked for 1,000 years against other alien races. But humans did not fight like other races. Captain Tony Miller's cruiser dove under the enemy formation and struck from below. Major Rick Sanders led his fighters in spiraling attacks that confused Corvan targeting computers. Commander Scott Davis used his ship's speed to appear in 3 different places at once. The Corvans could not adapt. Their training taught them to fight in formations with predictable patterns. Human ships moved like schools of fish or flocks of birds, each vessel independent but part of a greater whole. "Their fighters are everywhere," a Corvan pilot screamed over his radio. "I cannot get a lock on anything." General Thack watched his fleet fall apart from his command ship. Human vessels danced between his formations like they were standing still. Every time his ships turned to face one threat, 2 more appeared from different angles. "All ships, fall back," he ordered. "Reform at the edge of the system." but the humans would not let them go. Small, fast ships harassed the retreating Corvins, while larger vessels moved to cut off their escape routes. It was like being hunted by a pack of wolves. The battle ended with the destruction of half the Corvin fleet. The rest fled toward Council space with reports that would terrify their leaders. Humanity had not just returned to the stars, they had mastered them. Admiral Morrison broadcast a message to the entire galaxy as his fleet regrouped. The transmission reached every world, every station, every ship in Council space. "People of the galaxy," he began. 8 years ago, you cast Earth out. You called us too violent and too young to join your civilization. You built a wall around our world and told us to stay isolated forever. The message continued as human ships formed up for their next jump. Today, we have broken that wall. We have defeated your finest warriors in open battle. We are no longer asking for your permission to exist among the stars." Morrison paused and looked directly into the camera. His eyes held no anger, only cold determination. "You wanted to keep us caged. Instead, you gave us time to grow strong. You wanted to protect the galaxy from human violence. Instead, you created something far more dangerous than you ever imagined." The transmission ended with simple coordinates and a time. "We will be at Nexus Prime in 72 hours. The Council will hear our terms. You have 3 days to decide if you want peace or war." Across the galaxy, alien leaders watched the message with growing fear. The humans in the recording looked different from the desperate diplomats who had begged for acceptance 8 years ago. These were warriors who had proven themselves in battle. The human fleet jumped to fold space, leaving the wreckage of the Corvin battle group floating in the nebula. Their destination was Nexus Prime, the political heart of galactic civilization. For 8 years, the Council had ignored Earth. They had assumed the problem was solved. Now they were about to discover that some problems do not go away when you lock them in a cage. They grow stronger. The galaxy was in panic. News of humanity's return spread faster than their ships. 3 major alien fleets moved toward Nexus Prime to protect the Council's seat of power. They had no idea what they were really facing. Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the command center of the UHSV Retribution as his fleet approached the galactic capital. 200 ships now followed him, with more arriving every hour from hidden human bases across the galaxy. "Sir, we have a problem," reported Commander Helen Wright. "Sensors show Valdorian, Corvin, and Xanathi fleets converging on our position. Over 600 ships total." Jake smiled grimly. "Let them come. It is time they learned what 8 years of isolation really accomplished." On the planet Valdor Prime, Chancellor Xeris convened an emergency war council. The ancient alien's hands shook as he reviewed battle reports from Titan Nebula. Half a Corvin battle group destroyed in hours. Survivors spoke of human ships that moved like living creatures. "How is this possible?" demanded General Vorth of the Valdorian fleet. 8 years ago, humans had primitive technology. Now they field weapons we have never seen. The Xanathi representative, floating in its purple gas bubble, spoke directly into their minds. "We underestimated their adaptability. Isolation did not weaken them. It forced rapid evolution." Xeris studied the tactical displays. Human ships were smaller than Council vessels, but far more numerous. Their energy signatures showed technology that should not exist. "What do they want?" "Unknown," replied General Vorth. "Their message mentioned terms, but gave no details. They demand to speak with the Council directly." "Then we give them what they ask for," Xeris decided. "But surrounded by our fleets, they will negotiate from a position of weakness." The Chancellor had no idea how wrong he was. Captain Lisa Hayes now commanded the diplomatic vessel UHSV Horizon. She had spent 8 years preparing for this moment. The scared woman who had watched Earth's rejection was gone. In her place stood a warrior diplomat who knew the strength of the fleet behind her. "Open a channel to all Council forces," she ordered. Her message reached every alien ship in the system. This is Captain Hayes of the United Human Space Force. We come to negotiate the terms of Earth's readmission to galactic society. Any attempt to interfere with our mission will be considered an act of war." The Corvan response was immediate. "Human vessels, you are outnumbered 3-1. Surrender now, and we may show mercy." Lisa laughed. "General Thak, I believe you said something similar at Titan Nebula. How did that work out for you?" The alien fleets moved to surround the human formation. It was exactly what Admiral Morrison had hoped for. His ships were designed for the kind of close-range combat that was about to begin. Dr. Emma Clark worked at her station as the first alien shots were fired. Corvan laser beams lanced out toward human ships, followed by Valdorian particle cannons and Xanathi plasma bolts. It was an impressive light show that accomplished almost nothing. "Their targeting systems cannot track us," Emma reported. "Our electronic warfare is disrupting their sensors. Half their shots are going wild." Human ships moved through the alien formation like ghosts. They used quantum tunneling drives to appear and disappear faster than enemy gunners could react. What had taken Earth's scientists 8 years to develop, the aliens had never even imagined. Lieutenant Jake Murphy led his fighter squadron against a Valdorian cruiser. The massive ship fired hundreds of laser beams in his direction, but Jake's fighter was too small and fast to hit. He dove under the alien vessel and launched missiles into its engine ports. "Target destroyed," he reported as the cruiser exploded behind him. "Moving to next objective." The space battle raged for hours. Human ships struck from impossible angles and vanished before the aliens could respond. Their fighters moved like angry insects, too numerous and quick to stop. Their larger vessels used hit-and-run tactics that drove alien commanders crazy. Commander Danny Price watched his destroyer dance between 3 enemy ships. Their weapons could not touch him, but his missiles found their targets with deadly accuracy. One by one, the alien vessels died. "This is too easy," he told his crew. "They fight like they are still using 1,000-year-old tactics." Captain Tony Miller commanded a stealth ship that the aliens could barely detect. He moved through their formation like a shark, striking critical targets and disappearing before anyone knew he was there. Command ships, sensor platforms, communication, relays all fell to his precise attacks. The tide of battle turned quickly. Alien ships that had seemed overwhelming now found themselves outmatched by superior technology and tactics. Human vessels coordinated their attacks with computer precision, while alien fleets struggled to communicate through constant electronic jamming. Major Rick Sanders led a ground assault team aboard a Corvan command station. Human soldiers empowered, armor moved through alien corridors like unstoppable machines. Their weapons cut through enemy defenses while their armor shrugged off return fire. "Station secured," Rick reported as the last Corvan defender fell. "Intelligence data downloaded. The aliens have been planning this ambush for weeks." Admiral Morrison received the report with satisfaction. "Perfect. Let them know we can take their stations as easily as we destroy their ships." The battle ended with alien fleets in full retreat. Over half their ships were destroyed or disabled. The remainder fled toward the outer system, leaving Nexus Prime defenseless. But Morrison was not done. He had one more demonstration to make. "All ships, quantum tunnel to grid 77 Alpha," he ordered. The human fleet vanished from space and reappeared instantly in orbit around 5 different worlds. Valdor Prime, Corvan Central, Xanathi Homeworld, and 2 other Council strongholds suddenly found human warships in their skies. The message was clear. Humanity could strike anywhere in the galaxy at will. No world was safe. No fleet could protect the Council's power. Captain Amy Foster led the group that appeared over Valdor Prime. Her ship, the Vengeance, was visible from the planet's surface as a dark star that blotted out the sun. The sight terrified billions of Valdorians. "This is Captain Foster to Valdor Command," she broadcast. "Your capital city is under our guns. Order your fleets to stand down, or we will demonstrate human firepower on your presidential palace." Similar messages went out from human ships at every world. The council faced a choice they had never imagined: submit to human demands or watch their homeworlds burn. Chancellor Xeris received reports from across the galaxy. Human ships at every major world, his fleet scattered and broken. The mighty council reduced to begging for mercy from the species they had cast out. "What are their terms?" he asked his aide. "They demand immediate council recognition of Earth as an equal member," came the reply. "Full trading rights, access to all galactic territories, and reparations for 8 years of forced isolation." Reparations? Xeris could barely speak the word. They also demand the removal of all council restrictions on human expansion. Any uninhabited system is to be open for human colonization. The Chancellor looked at the reports again. Every military leader confirmed the same thing. The human fleet was superior in every way that mattered. They could move faster, strike harder, and coordinate better than any force in the galaxy. "Sir," his aide continued, "there is one more thing. They demand that you personally apologize to Admiral Morrison for Earth's treatment. The ceremony will be broadcast across the galaxy." Xeris closed his ancient eyes. 8 years ago, he had dismissed humans as violent children. Now those children had grown into warriors who could crush his entire civilization. The council had made a terrible mistake. They thought isolation would solve their human problem. Instead, they had created something far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. Earth had returned to the stars, and this time, they would not be denied. Chancellor Xeris walked slowly into the Great Hall of Nexus Prime. The same chamber where he had cast Earth out 8 years ago now hosted a very different kind of meeting. This time, humanity held all the power. Admiral Jake Morrison stood where Xeris had once stood. President Karen Walsh sat beside him, along with Captain Lisa Hayes and other human leaders. Outside the station, 500 human warships waited in formation. The message was clear to everyone in the galaxy. "Honored Chancellor," Jake said with cold politeness, "thank you for accepting our invitation to negotiate." Xeris winced at the words. Invitation. As if he had any choice. Human ships orbited every council world. His fleets were scattered and broken. The galaxy's most powerful civilization had been brought to its knees in 3 days. "What are your terms?" Xeris asked, his ancient pride finally broken. President Walsh stepped forward. She had practiced this moment for years. "First, immediate recognition of Earth as a full council member with all rights and privileges. Second, open borders for human expansion into any uninhabited system. Third, full trade agreements on equal terms. And fourth," Admiral Morrison added, "reparations for 8 years of illegal imprisonment. Earth will receive technology transfers, resource payments, and construction assistance for our expanding fleet." The council members looked at each other in dismay. These were not negotiations. They were surrender terms. The Corvan general tried to object. "Your demands are unreasonable. The council cannot simply give humans everything they want." Captain Lisa Hayes smiled coldly. "General, you had your chance to deal with reasonable humans 8 years ago. Those humans are gone. We are what you created when you chose force over diplomacy." Dr. Emma Clark stood and activated a holographic display. It showed the current positions of human ships throughout the galaxy. Red dots marked over 300 vessels scattered across dozens of star systems. "This is what 8 years of isolation accomplished," Emma explained. "We did not just build ships, we built infrastructure. Hidden bases, automated factories, quantum communication networks. Earth is no longer one world asking for permission. We are a galactic power that has already claimed our place among the stars." The display changed to show ship construction statistics. Human yards were producing vessels at a rate that shocked the alien observers. While the council debated, humanity had become an industrial powerhouse. "How?" whispered the Xanathi representative. "How did you advance so quickly?" Dr. Alex Turner answered from his seat with the human delegation. "You taught us that the galaxy was not ready for young, creative minds. So we stopped trying to fit into your old patterns and built something new instead. He gestured to the display. Your species have grown comfortable. You build the same ships with the same technology you have used for thousands of years. Humans had to innovate to survive. Innovation became our greatest weapon. Chancellor Xeris studied the data with growing fear. Human technology was not just different. It was better. Their ships moved faster, fought harder, and cost less to build than anything in the Council's arsenal. The balance of power has shifted, President Walsh continued. The choice now is simple. You can accept Earth as an equal partner and benefit from our friendship, or you can continue to oppose us and face the consequences. What consequences? The Corvan general demanded. Admiral Morrison answered by activating his personal communicator. All fleet commanders, this is Morrison. Execute demonstration protocol on my mark. Across the galaxy, human ships moved into position above major alien worlds. Their weapons powered up simultaneously, creating a light show that was visible from planetary surfaces. Mark, Morrison said quietly. Energy beams lanced down from human ships to strike uninhabited areas of each world. Mountains were vaporized, oceans boiled. The demonstrations lasted only seconds, but their message was unmistakable. That was our lowest power setting, Morrison explained as alien leaders stared at the destruction reports. We could sterilize every council world in an hour if we chose to. We prefer not to, but the choice is yours. The hall fell silent. For the first time in galactic history, the Council faced a power they could not resist. The humans had become what every alien race feared, a superior enemy that could not be stopped. But then something unexpected happened. A new voice spoke from the gallery above. The Harathi delegation supports the human proposal. All eyes turned to see Ambassador Krell of the Harathi Republic. His people had been denied council membership for centuries, kept out by the same rigid rules that had once excluded Earth. For too long, the council has been dominated by ancient powers that resist change, Krell continued. Earth has proven that new ideas and fresh energy can accomplish what old wisdom cannot. The Harathi offer formal alliance with humanity. Other voices joined in. The Naxian Trade Union, the Polaris Federation, the Rim Colonies Alliance. One by one, smaller alien nations declared their support for Earth. They had watched the Council's treatment of humanity and learned what it meant to be excluded from galactic society. Captain Scott Davis smiled from his position with the human delegation. This was the scenario they had hoped for, but never dared expect. The galaxy was splitting along new lines. Ancient powers versus emerging ones. Rigid tradition versus innovative change. It seems we have more support than expected, President Walsh observed. The galaxy is ready for new leadership. Chancellor Xeris realized his civilization faced more than military defeat. The entire structure of galactic society was changing. The Council's authority had been based on being the strongest and most advanced powers in the galaxy. If humans could match or exceed their capabilities, what did that mean for the future? We accept your terms, Xeris said finally. The words came out like broken glass. Earth will be granted full council membership. All restrictions on human expansion are lifted. Reparations will be negotiated and paid. But Morrison was not finished. There is one more condition. The council itself must be reformed. No more closed membership based on arbitrary standards. Any species that can contribute to galactic civilization deserves representation. You want to change the council structure? The Xanathi representative asked in shock. We want to replace it, President Walsh replied. The old council served its purpose, but that time is over. Earth proposes a new galactic federation based on merit and contribution rather than age and tradition. The proposal sent shockwaves through the alien delegates. The humans were not just demanding membership in the existing order. They wanted to create a completely new one. Think about it, Captain Hayes added. How many other species has the Council rejected over the centuries? How many potential allies have you cast out because they did not fit your narrow definitions of civilization? We offer them all a place at the table. The vote was held 3 days later. The old council powers opposed the changes, but they were outnumbered by smaller species who had suffered under the previous system. The Galactic Federation was born with humanity as one of its founding members. 6 months later, Captain Jennifer Cole stood on the bridge of the exploration vessel New Horizons. Her ship led a mixed fleet of human and alien vessels toward the galaxy's unexplored rim. It was the first joint expedition under the new Federation charter. "Sensors detect an inhabited system ahead," reported her science officer, a Harathi named Veek. "Preliminary scans show a pre-spaceflight civilization." Jennifer nodded. "Signal the fleet to maintain safe distance. We make contact according to Federation protocols. No interference, no demands, no judgment of their worthiness." The new rules were simple. Any species was welcome in the Federation if they chose to join. No tests, no probation periods, no arbitrary standards based on the prejudices of ancient powers. Admiral Morrison watched the expedition's progress from his office on Nexus Prime. The station had been renamed Federation Central and extensively rebuilt. Human engineers had added new docking bays, defense systems, and communication arrays. A message arrived from Earth with the weekly construction reports. The home system now boasted the galaxy's largest shipyards. Human vessels carried Federation citizens to new worlds, while human technology helped rebuild war-torn planets. "Sir," announced Commander Helen Wright, "we have a response from the Outer Rim species about Federation membership." Morrison read the report with satisfaction. 3 more civilizations had agreed to join. The Federation was growing faster than anyone had predicted. He walked to the observation deck and looked out at the stars. 8 years ago, those same stars had been forbidden to humanity. The Council had tried to cage Earth's children and keep them from their destiny. They had failed. But in failing, they had taught humanity its greatest lesson. When the powerful reject you, do not beg for acceptance. Become powerful yourself. When they cast you out, build something better than what they offered. The galaxy had tried to break human dreams. Instead, those dreams had remade the galaxy itself. Admiral Morrison smiled as he watched a mixed fleet depart for the frontier. Human ships flew alongside alien ones, all bearing the new Federation symbol. The stars that had once been forbidden now welcomed Earth's children with open arms. The Council had cast Earth out to protect their galaxy from human influence. They had succeeded beyond their wildest nightmares. Human influence now shaped the destiny of 1,000 worlds.